Hello everyone, welcome to Jaska Academy. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you the basics of Llama materials in Renderman for Maya. So basically, Llama material is a set of materials that is available in Renderman for Maya, which is a bit different than comparing to other materials like PXR Surface and PXR Disney materials, and it is a bit advanced and it's a bit optimized comparing to other materials, but it is really cool to use. So it is originally developed by ILM and it is integrated into Renderman for all the DCCs, and it is now available in Renderman for any DCC that you're going to work for, and from Renderman for 24, Renderman version 24. So yeah, let's get started. So I'm just going to create the Llama surface first. So Llama surface is the important node, and so this is the like a collector that collects all the lobes, material lobes to it, and it will directly connect to the surface using the shading group. So yeah, whatever DCC that you're working, like Houdini or Katana or whatever that supports Renderman. So when you're working with Llama materials, so you need to have Llama surface. So I'm just going to assign this Llama surface to the robot geometry in my scene, and let's see the result. Yeah, as you can see here, everything is looking black because it's just a collector. It's just an empty container at this moment. It doesn't have anything by default. So yeah, so that's why it looks black. So we need to connect something. We need to give it something to make it work. So I'm just going to create a Llama diffuse. So basically, this is a lobe like in PXR surface. So we have so many lobes like diffuse, specular, a subsurface scattering. So just like that, we have separate lobes here. So all of lobes will be available as a separate node here. So I'll explain all the lobes in a minute. So I'm just going to connect this to the Llama surface here. So the out color of the diffuse go to the material front. So as you can see here, after I connected the diffuse, so now I can see the diffuse material is working fine. So we have two things. One is the material front and the other one is material back. So if you want to create a two-sided material like a leaf, and if you want a particular leaf texture on the front side and a back leaf texture for the back side, so you need to connect your another texture or another material here. So yeah, maybe I can create another Llama diffuse and I can explain it in a better way. So I'm just going to give it a red color, and I'm just going to connect it to the material back, but it doesn't work because it doesn't show here because we don't have any reverse geometry, the backside of the geometry visible here. So I'm just going to create a plane and assign the same material and see. Okay, so I'm just going to assign this Llama surface. Let's start the IPR again. Cool. So we can see just the gray diffuse material, so we don't see the red material. So I'm just going to rotate it. Yeah, as you can see here, the things are looking black at the backside of the geometry because when you're using the back material, we need to turn on this material sides to 2. So if you're working on a two-sided material but if you don't turn this on, so it doesn't work. So we always need to keep that in mind. So yeah, I'm just going to turn this off for the optimization. So it's a very cool optimization. So basically, Llama material is made for the optimization. So the most the things that are taking so much of resources when you're working on the look there will have the switch in the Llama materials, so that if you definitely want that, you can just enable that. Other than, you can just keep that as it is, so it doesn't take any of your computer resource. So I'm just going to delete this, and yeah, it's already on 1, and I'm just going to stop the render, and I'm going to hide this. Yeah, so we have the Llama diffuse, and I'm going to create other lobes, and I'll show you how to connect and how to work on that. So I'm just going to, Okay, so I'm just going to set the channels back to RGB. Okay, so I'm just going to create the Llama conductor. So Llama conductor is responsible for creating metal kind of materials, and we have the Llama dielectric, which is responsible for creating transparent material like glasses and liquids, and we have the Llama S for subsurface scattering, and Llama translucent for translucent lobe, and we have the Llama hair chime. It's a dedicated hair material that is available in Llama, and finally we have Llama fuzz. Okay, Llama sheen, and yeah, we have one more, last but not least, and which is Llama emission. Okay, cool. So we have all the lobes that are available in Llama here. So you can see we have all the different lobes here. So I'm just going to compare this with the PXR surface. So as you can see here, PXR surface has the diffuse and speculars and subsurface scattering, the glass, everything, all the lobes in a single material. So this is a general purpose shader. So even though if you are using a particular lobe or not, so it will be always stick with your the material. So it will be calculated for some reason. So actually we don't want that, because if you're working on a huge scene like a city or a huge spaceship that has thousands of material in it, so it can, you know, make a big impact in the render times. So that Llama material is made for, and we have all the lobes separately available for us. So whatever lobe that you wanna create for your asset, so you can just create that particular lobe, and you can just combine them, and you can just connect that particular material to the geometry. So this is actually a very optimized way of working. So yeah, so let's first see all the lobes that are available in Llama materials in action. So I'm just going to connect the Llama conductor, and I'm just going to launch the IPR. Yeah, so as you can see here, the conductor is responsible for create metallic kind of surface. So you can have the all the parameters here. I'm not just gonna explain all the parameters that are coming with all the lobes, because I'm just going to create different in-depth tutorial for all the different lobes available in Llama. So yeah, this tutorial is just for how to set up and connect multiple different lobes to the material, and how combine the lobes together, and how we can make the things work using Llama materials. So yeah, I'm just going to just reset this and keep this as it is. So this is conductor. When you connect conductor, it's very straightforward, so we don't have to change anything here. And next we have the Llama dielectric, which is responsible for creating transparent material like glass or liquid or something like that. So when you connect the Llama dielectric, so yeah, you can see we have some black patches here and there. But yeah, so if I increase the, okay, so yeah, if you increase the max specular depth, so it won't give you any change. So I'm just going to bump this up to 10. So it doesn't change much, but in Llama surface, if you change the compute opacity, you can see, so the most of the black patches are gone now. We still have some black patches, but those are the reverse side of the geometry. So the geometry is not properly closed, so that we are having something like this. So yeah, so when you're using Llama dielectric, so you always need to make sure using the compute opacity turned on. So yeah, so in this case, I'm just going to set this back to 2, so that our render can go a little faster for the sake of this tutorial. So I'm also going to turn this backdrop off so that our render can go a bit faster. Yeah, so we have the Llama dielectric, so we have the dielectrics parameter here, and I'm just going to jump to the Llama subsurface scattering. So as you can see here, when I connect the subsurface scattering, so if I change the color, it works, but when I change the radius, it doesn't work because it calculates the color and other stuff, but not the subsurface scattering. So in order to make the subsurface scattering work, so even I can show you, even if I change the color or whatever, still it doesn't work. But if I enable the compute subsurface in the Llama surface, it's just working fine. So if you are working on subsurface scattering, you need to make sure you turn this on. So since we are not using the Llama dielectric, maybe we can turn this off. So yeah, so we are using the actual red, so we don't want that. So we can change the color, and you can see the subsurface is working fine. We have so many cool features available in the subsurface that I will explain in the later tutorials. And let's jump to Llama translucent. So as you can see here in the Llama translucent, as I connected here, nothing happens because the translucent is it works in a different way. I'm just going to explain with a maybe a simple geometry like a plane, so that I'm just going to rotate it, and I'm just going to assign this. Oh, okay, so we already have a plane here, but okay, that's fine. Okay, let's start the IPR. Yeah, so as you can see here, so now we have assigned our Llama translucent here, but if I rotate the geometry, so as you can see here, everything is looking black. So it's just work on the one side, and it's just give you the result of the light penetrates into the surface and it is coming outside at that particular backside thing of the translucent will be just available in the translucent materials. So if I connect this in the back material, and if I enable, so you can see we have so you need to turn this off usually when you're working with Llama translucent. So you can see we have some nice scattering going on. So if I move the plane, you can see, so it helps us to create some paper or thin kind of a surface like a leaf or something like that. So yeah, that's it for Llama translucent at this moment. And we have the Llama Harchang. So before work on that, I'm just going to delete this. I don't want other plane as well. So okay, so let's set the IPR and see the Llama Harchang. Yeah, so Harchang, we are currently connected it is on a surface, but the Harchang work directly on the hair. So when you connect it to the hair, so you can get the proper look that you want. And we have the Llama sheen. So as you can see here, it gives you the fuzzy look. So kind of a fabric has a fuzzy look on top of it, so we can have that kind of a look. So it has a simple one parameter, that's a roughness, that can help you to achieve the result that you want. So yeah, and finally we have the Llama emission. So it is a pretty self-explanatory. So it's a light emitting material. So if you have a light emitting shader in your asset, you have to use this, and you need to connect your textures, so it will just work as you want. So yeah, these are all the available lobes in Llama Llama materials. So now if I go one by one in the Llama diffuse, we don't have any option to create any specular. So if you want to create a plastic material, so you need a diffuse and you need a specular. But how can you create a specular just using the Llama diffuse. So it is impossible to create just using the Llama diffuse, because that is the whole point of Llama materials. So basically you need to create two different lobes and you need to combine them together. So basically you need to have a Llama diffuse and you need to have a Llama dielectric, and you need to combine them together to get a plastic look. So we have several nodes that can helps us to combine the different lobes together. So we have the Llama add, and we have Llama mix, and finally we have the Llama layer. So yeah, these three nodes are responsible for combine multiple lobes together in a different ways. So first I'm just going to connect the Llama diffuse and the dielectric. So basically when you press 3, so you can see all the connections, input connections. So here I'm just going to connect the diffuse in the material 1. So first, before that, I'm just going to connect the out color of the Llama add to material front, and we don't have anything because it's just another container. So we are connecting this container to this container, and now we are going to connect the actual material, the lobe. So now you can see we have the Llama diffuse is working fine, and we are going to assign the Llama dielectric to the material 2. So as you can see here, nothing changes here, but as soon as I play with this weight, so if I increase the weight 2, you can see some specular. So as I increase the weight to 1, you can see now we have the dielectric material and the diffuse material all together in addition. So actually, if you want a particular material, so you need to play here. So let's say instead of connecting the dielectric, let's connect the conductor so that it will be a bit easy to understand visually. So as you can see here, we have the diffuse and the metal look at the same place. So we don't want that. So if you are working on a metal, so you need to reduce your diffuse contribution. So as I reduce the weight 1 to 0, you can see just the metallic, the gold metal is now available. So if you just want the diffuse, you need to reduce the weight to. So this is a bit tricky. So usually we won't use Llama add for this kind of purpose. So we will use Llama add for the create a leaf kind of a material using the Llama translucent and other stuffs. But I will explain that in later tutorials. But let's say I'm just going to control everything through a map. So I'm just going to create a checker map. Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to connect the out color or to the weight 2. So as you can see here, so now it doesn't take the slider, so it's just taking everything from this checker. So if I solo this out, yeah, so wherever you see white, we'll have the metal on the shader. So yeah, if you want, if I reduce the weight 1 to 0, you just have the metal. But what if you want so wherever you have the gold material, you just want the gold material. So wherever you want the diffuse, you just want the diffuse material. So that case, we need to connect another map to control the weight 1. So maybe we can reverse this map, the existing checker map. So I'm just going to connect the out color, and I'm just going to get the output X, maybe the red color, to the weight 1. So you can see now, so this color is now reversed here, and wherever you have black here will now become white, so that we just have the diffuse material and the metal material on the corresponding places. So it is a bit difficult to control this kind of combining multiple painted metal and wearing metal and dirt, dust on top. So yeah, we will have a different node for that, that is Llama mix. So I'm just going to connect the Llama diffuse to the Llama mix. So let's press 3 and connect the Llama diffuse to material 1, and connect the Llama conductor to the material 2, and I'm going to connect the out color to material front. So as you can see here, so actually this is like a Photoshop layer. So the material 1 is just a Llama diffuse, and material 2 is conductor, and currently the material 1 is taking place on top of the material 2. So if I increase currently, so yeah, actually diffuse is the layer that is on the bottom, and the conductor or the metal layer is the top layer, but we don't have the mix value have any contribution. So once you increase, so you can see, so our mix is working fine. So if you go 1 here in the mix, you just have the metal material, so you don't have any diffuse contribution or the material 1 contribution. So like, so in Photoshop, whatever layer that you have on top, so if you just adjust the opacity of that particular layer, and it does work fine. So that way the mix works. So if I connect this checker to the mix, so you can simply get the result that you have here. So the Llama mix is what we usually use in most of the places, like combining or mixing multiple materials like dirt, dust, and varying metals and things like that. So it's a simple control, and it just works very straightforward. So yeah, so that's it for the Llama mix. And finally we have the Llama layer. So this is kind of a another mix, but it works in a 3D way. So 3D way in the sense, so I'm just going to connect the Llama diffuse first. So as you can see here, it has material base and material top. Here material 1 and material 2, and here we have the material base and top, and the parameters that controls the contribution of the materials is top mix and top thickness. So as you can see here, so it's just layering the dielectric, like I'm just going to show you practically. So I'm just connected the Llama diffuse in the material base. I'm just going to connect the out color to the material front, and you just have a diffuse contribution. So I'm just going to connect the dielectric, which is a glass material, but now you can see it just work as a specular, because both the surfaces are in the same place, like so now it works like a varnish material. So let's say if you have a varnish material on top of a surface, so it's just like a thin layer, so you can just peel it off. So the same way, so when you assign a material with a diffuse and dielectric using this layer, so it's just working like a varnish material, so that it works as a specular. So if you just wanna connect a dielectric, or if you want to create a specular lobe, you need to use the Llama layer. So this is the, like a specular weight. So in PXR surface, if you wanna reduce the turn off the specular using a map or something, we will usually use the specular weight. Here it is just the top mix. So we have another option, which is the top thickness, but at this moment you can't see anything here. But in a later tutorial, when I explain about the Llama dielectric, I'll show you how the thickness works. So this is a pretty cool feature. So yeah, we have the Llama layer. So if you want to work, if you want to combine multiple speculars together, let's say if I want to create a carbon material, so maybe I can give a color to my diffuse, and I just want this to be a bit darker. Okay, so we have the Llama dielectric that has the varnish kind of a layer in it, and I'm just going to connect, instead of connecting the Llama dielectric here, I'm just going to connect the Llama conductor. So yeah, as you can see here, we have the much of a metal contribution here, but I don't want that. So I want to reduce the contribution, so that you have to go to the Llama layer and you need to reduce it from here. And I'm just going to increase the roughness of the Llama conductor so that you have a rough metallic look. I think this will be fine. Maybe we can reduce the top mix even further, and maybe we can change the color a little bit. Yeah, let's go for the same color. Yeah, this will work. And let's create another llama layer to combine one more specular layer. Oh, sorry. So to combine one more specular layer on top. Oops. Yeah. So now I'm just going to connect this llama layer to the material front. Okay. Yeah, so now I'm just going to connect this layer, the new layer that we have created. So connect the out color. Oops. Press 3. Connect the out color to material base, and from here we are going to connect our llama dielectric to the material top. So now you can see we have all the 3 layers are now combined together. So yeah, so let's say if I wanna, let's just increase the top mix a little bit so that you can see the llama layer one's contribution here. So maybe you can change the color to a different one, like a red. So yeah, as you can see here, so everything is working fine. So yeah, that's it for this tutorial. So we have pretty much covered all the basic aspects of working with the llama materials. So in the upcoming tutorials, I'm going to explain about the different lobes and how we can create a particular look of a material using the particular lobes in the future tutorials. So yeah, that's it for this tutorial, and thanks for watching.